Tom Fitton is a guy, I always tell you, you got to put your money where your mouth is, and we could talk and we could rant and we could complain. Tom Fitton steps up and he does something about the injustices that we see all the time from Judicial Watch. Tom, we appreciate that, my friend, and welcome back to the show, sir.
Hey, Joe, good to be on with you again. Thanks for the good word.
Well, no, we love it, man. It's a lot. I don't know how you do it. Before we get to Merrick Garland, Tom, if you would, as president of Judicial Watch, you see something, it doesn't make sense to you, and then you will start a lawsuit. You will start a lawsuit. Is there like a litany of lawyers that you have? I mean, are you on this personally? Could you walk us through that process? I find it fascinating.
Well, I'm not a lawyer. Half of this is, Joe, just reading the newspaper, right?
Yeah,
and, and you talk about stuff on your show, you'd be surprised how few things the deep state or the establishment or the regular media follow up on. So a lot of this is just saying, well, there's something going on here. Let's ask questions about it. And under the Freedom of Information Act, if they don't give us answers within a certain amount of time, we can go to court. And, that usually means we always have to go to court because they rarely want to fess up and turn documents over.
Yeah, man. Well, we appreciate it because it's a street instinct is what it is. And it's a common sense how they're doing now. And your thoughts on the Merrick Garland hearing yesterday, Tom Fitton?
He's a disastrous justice. He's just a disaster of an attorney general. And, I'm glad that at least there was some accountability for his failure to enforce the law or to enforce it in a political way, where pro-lifers are targeted, but those who target pro-lifers are protected. You obviously had the targeting and the censorship of citizens through the Justice Department and the FBI. Garland is running a politicized Justice Department, and I think one of the biggest issues is that they're targeting political opponents, people who support Trump or disputed the election, and trying to jail them.
Yeah, you know what? Stay with me on this, if you would, Tom. We had Senator Marsha Blackburn on, and she was there yesterday. So I had to ask her, I said, Senator, when you looked at Garland and you see this guy, what do you see? What do you see? Because sometimes when you're in person right there, you're right face to face. And she made a kind of a really, really interesting observation. She said, all of this she felt is not coming from Garland. It comes out of the White House, and it's not Garland. He's just a mouthpiece. And I went, wow, yeah, because I didn't see any, I don't see from Garland passion. I don't see any passion or any, and I'm wondering who's running, what lifelong bureaucrat, or you may call them the deep state, who's running the White House, who's running the Department of Justice. A scary thought, but your thoughts on that, Tom Fitton, is somebody within the White House?
It's funny you say that because Garland used to be a judge down here. He was on the appellate court in the federal circuit. And Judicial Watch appeared before him a few times. He was a political judge in my view, but well respected. He's not the same guy. He's much older, and Senator Blackburn is right. You've got these politicos at the Justice Department. For instance, the Washington Post had a piece yesterday talking about how these deep state actors and these political appointees, not Garland, were in a battle with the FBI over whether the raid Trump's home. And the FBI, being cautious, didn't want to get caught up in that. Yeah. But you had these political appointees in the Justice Department. No sign Garland had any role here. These were second-level hacks, political appointees of Biden who abused their power to target Trump. And, Garland seems to be window dressing in some respects.
Yeah, it's so true. And let's go to the president, if we could, Tom Fitton. This is a great conversation, man, because when I saw him, they're talking about fentanyl, and then he actually laughed it off after that poor mom from Detroit with 2 sons that died from fentanyl, and he blames it on Trump. This guy. How soulless. And I've had it, and I'm trying to be nice. I always take the high road, but I'm done with this guy, Biden. How soulless is this guy? He's got no soul. He's like a pathological politician. He's whatever it takes to survive. And you and me were collateral damage. Yeah,
I mean, rather than saying, well, I'm sorry for this person's loss.
Exactly.
This happened before my time, and Lord knows there are many people suffering today. I mean, his logic is crazed, where if it happened on Trump's watch, it's Trump's fault. But none of the fentanyl deaths on his watch are his fault then? How does that work? But when you look at his statements, and I encourage your listeners to do a little Googling or whatever, DuckDuckGoing or whatever they want to do, and look at his statement, and you'll see a politician who is as aggressive and nasty as anything that's going on, any politician here in D.C. or even the local politicians in the big cities. He is extremely aggressive and really quite vicious. And it's politics. I understand that. But I was thinking, boy, Joe Biden, he still hasn't lost all of it. That's for sure. He's as savvy and nasty a politician as anyone who's engaged in it.
You're not the first.
Which highlights the necessity to hold him accountable for the corruption we all know he's been involved in.
Yeah, it's so true. And by the way, to that point, what is Garland saying about Hunter Biden? Is nothing. He said, "Well, I've appointed an investigator, an inspector. Will we ever find out about Hunter Biden? About what leads to perhaps Ukraine? Certainly, we know China. All of that we know about. Will we ever get to the bottom of it? Do you think, Tom Fitton?"
Well, certainly not directly. Not with this Justice Department. They've been agonizing over whether to prosecute Hunter Biden on really basic tax charges for years. You have to remember you had the deep staters in the Trump Justice Department look the other way on Hunter. And now, 2019 they got the laptop. What year now is it, 2023?
Yes.
To tell you that time frame is to condemn the Justice Department without having to do much.
Well, we appreciate your fight, Tom. Great conversation this morning, Tom Fitton, president of Judicial Watch. Keep up the great work, Tom. Please come back soon, my friend. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Tom Fitton, right there.